Did somebody say WeeaBoots? Because I think this hardly qualifies.
What's up, weebs? Welcome to WeeaBoots, the only contemporary anime review podcast here on GigaBoots. I'm your host, Anime Danmei, and with me, as usual, is Bob.
Hi, guys.
From GigaBoots. We have Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
Hello.
KZ from KZExcellent.com.
It's time to finish the fight.
And Dr. Aggro from GigaBoots.
Calibrating? I don't know.
So we watched Mass Effect Paragon Lost, an anime that is contemporary from 9 years ago, question mark. This is all Feel's fault. Hey, Feel, how's it going?
Yeah, the first thing I was going to say is I'm sorry. I'm formally apologizing. I assumed this would be something instead of just nothing.
Well, what do you mean? This premiered on Xbox Live Arcade Store and PSN Store.
This had a limited
before the DVD release.
This had a limited theatrical release.
Ooh.
The fact it had a theatrical release is flooring me.
Yes.
This had a theatrical release and a physical release. Like this knockoff serial of movies.
It's got big name actors in it.
Maltomobile presents.
It has one who is in the game, and then another character and then Keith David, who voices a character in the actual games, does not voice that character in this movie.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
I thought that was wrong.
Instead, it's Patrick Seitz doing a really bad impersonation of Keith David.
I mean, what more could you ever want?
Jesus Christ. To clarify what Mass Effect Paragon Lost is, it is about 80 minutes of roughly animated animation from, I believe, Studio IG, Production IG.
Production
IG.
And it came out in the year of our Lord 2012.
You know, this was bad, but on the other hand, it fits with our brand of covering things nobody ever thought about before and nobody will ever think about again after we're done talking about them.
That is true. Dan?
Yeah.
We had a first for any of our shows where you assign us to watch something.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it, and at one point I went, I've been tuning this out for 15 minutes and rolled it back 15 minutes when I realized I was no longer paying attention. This was maybe 12 minutes in that I started doing that.
I looked up from my phone and went, wait, who's dead?
KZ, I need you to know that I've gotten upset at people who didn't pay enough attention to shows we've covered on WeeaBoots. I've done that in the past. I found myself 30 minutes in looking at my phone, and I'm like, that's a bad sign. That is a really bad sign.
I saw happening in real time, but there was nothing that he was missing, so I couldn't even be upset. Like, it didn't help that I watched this on Hulu, and it seemingly was a 360p version of this. It's the worst looking thing I've seen in months.
I thought there would be any so like, I haven't seen it, but Halo Legends is a trillion times better than this, right?
Yes, of course. There are small stories. They may not be the best, but they're stories that can land to varying degrees with people. Humans.
They feel they feel like they were written by a human being and not a slush monster.
Yeah, this is yes. Some of them are really, really weak stories. Some of them are really stupid stories, but at the end of the day, there are ties to lore, and some of it can be interesting and funny. Like that, we used that Master Chief GIF for Malo in 2020 from one of those animations because it was hilarious and delightful.
Not a single delightful thing in Paragon Lost.
Not even one syllable of a delightful thing in Paragon Lost.
In fact, Paragon Lost makes Mass Effect 3 worse.
I audibly said "uh-oh" like 3 minutes in.
Oh my god!
Now, guys, I will tell you, if you think about the events of this film and a lot of the decisions made by characters, the whole thing.
Oh, that's rough. A lot of it's going.
The whole thing is a lot more plausible if you consider that this entire thing was basically a pen and paper RPG. Which is personally my last line of psychic defense when the movie gets real stupid.
Man, you're really fucking saving certain choices.
It just came off to me as like, okay, we're going to do an interquel. It's going to be one of those bad interquels where we have a bunch of characters that you know will not survive to the credits because they aren't in the thing that comes after this. We're going to make the worst version of that you've ever seen.
Which I've got nothing for Mass Effect. Like, I played a half an hour of it when it came out on a friend's Xbox, didn't find the menu that let me do anything, because that's how Mass Effect 1 was set up, and died, and was like, okay, that was weird.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about how familiar people are with Mass Effect. Bob, how much have you played?
I played like the first mission of each, and I think that's it.
Okay, I played for the quick play we did of Mass Effect 2 where we made a horrible monster man. Or Mass Effect 3, can't remember. That man's face is hilarious. It almost inspires me to play through a whole game.
Oh, God, that was great. Also, I have seen that video where Shepard punches a reporter like 800 million times.
Oh, that's true. I also made a disingenuous assertions meme. That's a good point. I should clarify that. That should be on the table. KZ?
I rented the original at launch or around it and played like 6 hours.
Okay.
I don't remember any of it.
Okay, and Mr. Feel?
I've played through all three at least 4 times each.
You're damn right it's this man's fault.
One of us owned an Xbox.
If people missed the part where Feel was guilty, here it is again.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Just from the cursory things I've seen, do people think Shepard dies at the end of every single game?
No, it's there's at the start of 1, he dies and is dead for 2 years.
I thought that was 2.
No, yeah, at the start of 2. I mean, at the start of 2, and then he doesn't die. He doesn't die.
I was having a stroke. I was like, what?
But he can die at the end of 2, but that's like, it's not canon at all. It's something you have to set up to happen.
Because they think that he's dead at the beginning of this show, which is between 2 and 3.
Because I guess it's between. I think this is set in the 2 years he is dead.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing of Shepard maybe being dead. I remember hearing about that.
And it's like, wow, you couldn't have picked like a worse everything about this entire movie.
So something I need to explain to people who maybe don't care about Mass Effect. If I were to describe, this is the only anime I've ever seen where I felt using technical terms, science, electronics terms would help explain the art style. So there are 2 primary terms I would use to describe the art style. Motion interpolation, which is that soap opera mode your TV gets on where it upsamples everything to 120 frames per second, because there are multiple scenes in this where they're like, we want them to move slowly, but we don't want to draw enough frames. So they had a computer generate in between frames, and that looked nightmarish on 2D art.
Yeah, that's like, oh, it's a slow-mo shot, but we want to make just as many frames as we would for a regular shot.
Yeah.
I remember shouting, you've got to stop doing that panning thing. It's not working.
I noticed this is when I went, oh no, is when they showed a character starting to bark orders or say something, and they started spinning around, and I'm like, this looks rough in the way the triangle strategy demo looked rough when they made sprites rotate. But on an animated character that's right in my face, please stop.
Yeah, it's rough. The second thing I would use to describe it, the second technical term, and this is an older one, it's more for people of the Boomers age. Pan and scan.
Oh God, those scenes
where the picture does not fit in the frame at all, and as characters talk, it whips digitally across, and it looks terrible.
Yeah, I know. It immediately made me go, "What? Really?"
There's a epic scene happening here. We just need to pan around this shot while it happens,
and add a gun shake in After Effects. Just
I remember
shake it
thinking,
digitally.
like, if they had made this 10 or 15 years earlier, it would have looked cutting edge and neat. But they didn't.
This was
so
2012.
It's just weird and janky.
Yeah, it's so bad. When you watch a movie and you go, man, that green screening is bad. This is the first time I've looked at compositing of anime and gone, man, that shouldn't be green screening. There's so many segments where they have a 2D character in front of bad low rent 3D art or the reverse. There's a segment where they take the land vehicle over a 2D background. The land vehicle's 3D, and I went, Sonic Chronicles?
To be fair, it's the Mako.
Yes, it is.
And so it looking like shit and like another like it's in another dimension was probably intentional.
I mean, fair, but you should make the environment in 3D so that way it doesn't immediately make me think of Sonic Chronicle.
If they had made this with in-engine models,
that would have been great.
Even with BioWare's standards of animation, it would have looked better than this.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
staggering.
Yeah, when they did the opening shot of this spaceship, I was like, this looks better than the game. What? Oh, I did do the personnel roundup that I normally do. If we want to do that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes, let's get into the WeeaBoots segment, even though this should have been cursed content. Bob, who made Mass Effect Paragon?
Oh,
Lost?
watching it with you guys would have fucking saved at least some neurons.
Yeah.
God.
It would have been the only thing to like us to come out more empty than the Golden Compass.
You would have heard
Oh,
me
yeah, it would still be a
scream
negative
at the
five.
top of my lungs when a certain character started talking.
So Bob was responsible for this.
This was done by production studio, Production IG. Let's move it
okay.
over. I wanted to go into what they were making around the same time, though.
Ooh.
Because
Gave
this
me
series,
hope.
this studio has been working for decades. They're long standing.
I mean, they made Ghost in the Shell, didn't they?
Yeah, they made Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
They made
so-
lots of great stuff.
They made plenty of good
Production
things.
IG.
Yeah, what else? What were they working on around the same time,
This same year,
Uh-huh.
we saw Blood Sea, which, though kind of not great, looks amazing.
Uh-huh.
Gargantia of the how do you keep giving these Japanese names? It's Satsui no Gargantia.
Okay.
That one also looked pretty nice, and they worked on robotics notes, which also looked nice. This is easily the worst thing they released that year.
Bob, this
I was shocked when you said IG. It was like, which fucking intern squad did they put on this?
I cannot stress this enough. I say this with no levity at all. This is just a sobering truth of this episode. This is somehow the worst looking anime we've ever reviewed on WeeaBoots. That is not easy.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
This is the same. They were in the between working on different Ghost in the Shell Arise projects.
Yeah.
Woof.
I don't know.
Woof.
I'm now looking at the writer of this thing.
Yes,
writing
I was
credits.
going to say that too. Henry, what is it? Gilroy?
Gilroy.
Yes. He worked on various Star Wars Rebels and other awful things. What did you pick out?
Oh, that's the high end stuff.
Okay.
Some Bionicle movies. Okay, some people like those. And then he's like, all the Marvel cartoons nobody remembers. Iron Man Armored Adventures. Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Okay, I've seen one episode of the Iron Man cartoon. It's really bad.
The Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which is abysmal.
Yeah, that's what
no.
I heard.
No.
The Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, which I never even heard of before looking this up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a
apparently.
thing.
He also and then like he gets further back and like his soul, like apparently his soul left because he worked on stuff like Batman TAS, the Earthworm Jim cartoon, Jackie Chan Adventures, and then he like I'm gonna write Clone Wars, and then he just suddenly dives into the cesspit.
Look, guys, we can't criticize the fucking writer on this. He did his job, okay? Listen, he did the 3 things he needed to. There's a Mako, there's a blue lady who someone is attracted to, and the Paragon is lost.
Can I talk about how this movie has the most perfect casting of all time?
Sure.
Does it? I
Yeah, it does. It's
disagree,
like,
but
wow,
please go ahead.
that character's a racist backstabber. Who voices him?
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's Vic.
Oh,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
I'm glad you
specifically
noticed.
this. Here's the thing. Because you've got this military squad, so you've got the slightly ethnic leader character,
Yeah, he speaks Spanish.
Voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.
the 2 white guys, one of which is super nerdy and the other one's the sniper. You have the chick, and you've got that other guy, the loudmouth, shitty sexual predator, the Kurt Sweber of the group.
Yes.
And I was like, why is this guy not voiced by Vic Mignogna?
Because Vic Mignogna is voicing Messner, the backstabbing racist.
So when that guy opens his mouth, I just started wordlessly screaming.
Yes.
Now,
He was in the building, and you didn't have him voice Essex?
I have to know if anybody else had this thought at any point during watching this. It was like, this is a lot like Kingsglaive.
Yes, actually, but it was worse.
Yes, it's so much worse that my brain didn't
I feel like
connect
I
that.
got literally anything out of Kingsglaive.
It's only like here's the squad of military squad stereotypes. I also thought of Hayes a bunch of times.
I was
That's
impressed that the woman did anything before dying horribly. Unlike Kingsglaive.
What a fucking sentence.
Man, not having seen Kingsglaive continuing to pay dividends.
Yes.
Oh, looks like we're gonna have to revisit that at some point with aggro.
No.
Also, I
Good.
didn't know main character
Comes the cheapy podcast.
he made it into the game. I wasn't ready to look him up and see this.
Oh man,
he's
what?
He's a party
You have an
member
image?
in
You have an image. One moment.
Yeah, look, there he is.
yeah, that's a party member in 3. I prefer this image where everybody made up names for him before they knew his real name. Let me try. Somebody made a wallpaper of it.
What?
What?
Because we like had his. God damn it, where is it now?
He showed up in a thing, and everyone went, "Oh, who's this guy?" And then they just start making up names for him before.
Yeah, and because he's huge, they started making up like when Mystery Science Theater would call
Yeah,
squat
Yes.
slam thrust or whatever.
Slim Rock
Big,
Boy.
McLarge, huge.
Big McLarge huge.
Here it is. I fucking found it. Thank God. Thank you. All I had to do was search for what's his name, James Vega.
I like his model here, honestly. It works for me in a way that him being a
he's-
different face every time I look at him in this fucking movie didn't.
What? Yes. Look at this.
Joe Brohawk?
Jennifer Nitholm.
Leonard Manslope.
Beef scrap.
This
Okay.
would have been around the time of Killzone 2, the like Frohawk ambassador,
Yeah.
I feel.
That's true, yeah. Benny, what was it? Benny Bloodmulch. These are
So
great names.
Ribs, rock knuckle.
I really liked James Vega in Mass Effect 3, and this movie made me despise him.
That's
Yeah.
so bad.
Understandable.
Because in the game, he's like your bro. He's like, yeah, you're real cool, Commander Shepard. I can't wait to help save the universe with you. And like, he doesn't have a super strong character, but he's like, you're a good protagonist sidekick, where you're a lot like a protagonist character, but not as competent. But you're like a nice, cool guy who has fun. And then the entire last 30 minutes of this movie happened.
Yeah. Well, you say the last 30. I'd like to outline my experience here because the movie opens up and the "we're all on the ship getting ready to go" segment is just lasting way too long. And the character that should have been voiced by Vic Mignogna pulls the Vic, and that just it goes on and on, and then. Then the fucking the action starts, and like 2 dropships get fucked up, and their dropship gets fucked up, and the ensuing action sequence, while nonsensical from a practical standard, I hate sci-fi with ground wars for no reason, is really fucking cool. Like, I really liked it.
Aggro. If sci-fi with ground wars makes you have an aneurysm, Mass Effect 3 will make you die. You would not survive.
I'm used to it. But
Aggro,
yeah, like
imagine a race of sentient spaceships that still have ground wars.
wait, the Reapers aren't just those tentacle ships?
No, they are. But they use they shoot like cyber spikes down onto the planet that like turn people into cyber zombies, and those are their ground troops.
I was about to say, was this like Sin from Final Fantasy X, just shooting little pods down?
Yes.
But isn't
Apparently.
their goal just to wipe out organic life?
Yep. But they need ground troops.
Oh, wow.
They need ground troops because this is a video game. You gotta shoot humanoids.
I've been carrying around a desire to experience this franchise for more than a decade.
I think you'd get a lot out of it.
You just snuffed it out like a fucking candle.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
you need to take a trip through this at 4K 60.
Jesus Christ.
Whenever you play Killzone Shadowfall, you can do anything.
So that action scene, like that whole sequence wraps up, and I'm riding high. I'm like, all right, maybe this is going to be better than I thought. I've enjoyed ugly ass animes that were actually really cool before, and then the time jump happens.
Yep.
Because he's like, we're assigning you to, like defend this. He's like, but we're special ops. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a cool 2 years later. Oh no. Oh, this is going to be real stupid, isn't it?
Wait, okay, so I forgot it was specifically 2 years. Doesn't he put on the fucking Remember the Normandy badge when they fight the blood pack?
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
the first thing he does.
Yeah.
So that has to be after Shepard dies, but this is either immediately after he comes back to life or immediately before.
Look, you can write this all off. They didn't use the Ansible, so the communication wasn't immediate.
I don't think that's how it works in this universe.
Sure it is. I'm
Yes.
sure everything...
They were able to phone into someone, see her fully on the toilet,
There's
talk to her in real
okay,
time.
let's talk about that. They call someone. They call the other blue alien, who's like the mentor of the blue alien in this. I've already forgotten the name of literally every character but Essex.
The blue alien who's here is Tria, and the blue
There we
alien
go.
they call is Dr. Liara, who is a party member in 1 and 3.
Okay, let me talk about that call.
She's the real one.
Let me talk
Yeah.
about that call. Something about the way they drew her and the framing of it. I'm like, they're just holograph talking to her on a toilet. Like, it's something about the way it's
You need to
framed
understand.
had no grace or composition to it.
This was a really stressful time for IG, okay? They signed the contract October 1st, and they said, okay, this releases at the end of November.
You know, that would explain anything. I can't stress how floored I was as it passed every bar I'd ever set for worst animated thing we've seen on WeeaBoots.
It's just like, woo!
It limboed all the way past it.
It limboed under the fridge. It flattened itself to the ground like a roach.
Yeah, that's how it felt. Man, do we even broad strokes want to talk about the story? I guess we could, because
Absolutely.
nobody should watch this.
Yeah,
to be
You
clear.
should tell me I've forgotten more than half the film.
I
mean,
can run it through it
was
real quick.
Mostly
Super
action
fast.
scenes.
I'm gonna
Yes, bad action scenes.
okay. I'm
That
gonna run
barely
through it
moved.
real quick, and other people can correct me on bits I'm wrong on.
Sure.
Sure.
So enemy faction, forgot their name. They're attacking
The blood pack.
Yeah, okay. They're attacking a facility. It's more of a scientific facility. We come to save the colony. They successfully, though stupidly, win a ground war against them and start setting up really super big guns to defend this facility as they stay here for 2 years, even though they're special forces. They are now a security detail. There's a mild air of, man, since you guys showed up, everything changed around here because not everyone's allowed into every place. That sucks. You suck. As our main character guy, you mad bro, is trying to get more familiar with a blue scientist lady who's an alien because she's a blue scientist lady that someone's attracted to, which is how you know it's Mass Effect. Or
Because he wants some blue.
yes, they said that at one point. And she's an archaeologist, not a fan of him, not a fan of any of this shit. She's really done with this. And then they have to go investigate why they can't get long-range communications working. An artifact is set up in the middle of nowhere, and they blow it up. She's very upset. She's so upset she almost just walks off the cliff.
Okay, hang on a second, because I want to focus in on that scene where they bring the specialist and she's like, "That's clearly not from the system," and they're like, "Oh, so we explode it, right?"
She was
Like
a fan.
That's what they fucking do. They're like, we have no idea what this is. It's putting out enough electromagnetics to fuck with our communication system. Let's blow it up.
Yeah.
It literally feels like Tria, that blue character, like, because Liara is also an archaeologist. It really feels like it's like, we wrote this. You can't use this character because she isn't anywhere near her during this time frame. Let's change her name and leave everything else exactly the same and include a scene where she calls the real one.
Well, I mean, in as much as Vega is Kmart Shepherd, I think he just needed Kmart Blue Scientist to go along with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the Krogan a Kmart version of the Krogan in the regular game?
No, in this Krogan kind of.
Or are Krogan kind of alike?
Well, it's like this makes Krogan into Klingons, basically.
Yup.
And they're not really Klingons.
Oh.
Your Krogan in the first game, who's like the big one, Rex, like the big one everybody knows, is kind of a Klingon. So, and this one's kind of a Klingon, so it feels more like that. He's a copy in that way, but I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Honor and death by battle. You guys don't give a shit about this. The whole point of this is that the thing about the Krogans is that they needed to fight like the intergalactic society needed to fight an unendingly replicating insect menace. So they're like, these cavemen have 2 sets of organs, live 1,000 years, and are almost impossible to kill. Let's give these cavemen guns.
Okay, wait, I suddenly want to play Mass Effect again.
That's exactly what the Krogans are.
That's fucking awesome.
And it's
Holy
like,
shit.
okay, Krogans, you go fight that. There's like a thing in the Codex where its voice was like, before the introduction of gunpowder, the most common cause of death on the planet was this. Afterwards, it was gunshot wound. So yeah, they literally elevated cavemen and now they're Klingons, I guess. Fucking whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, I also thought that whole scene was weird because this guy who says that he's just a trader on the planet provides the military force a vehicle because I guess they don't have a vehicle.
Yeah, I was about to explain this, but we've been in deep Mass Effect lore for a bit. So anyway, they met a sketch-ass dude who probably sells drugs on the train, and they start hanging out with him. Who fucking knows why? But that guy happens to be around when they find out their long-range communications are getting interfered with. And they're like, he's like, oh, well, I have a vehicle so we can go out and investigate. So he gives them a vehicle to go out there. Spoilers. That guy set up everything. He set up the artifact that is disrupting the signals to help future events we're about to cover happen. It's very smart and it makes total sense.
So the entire security detail is those 8 or 6 main characters. They all leave the base.
It's been like 2 years. Nobody got reinforced.
No.
Yeah, no one else is there who can operate the gigantic gun they just installed.
And somehow it has no autopilot mode, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, while they're out fucking around with that artifact and blowing it up because dismantling is hard, I guess. An alien race attacks with bees, and the bees can sting people and paralyze them. I have one question, Phil. You answer this question and you do not elaborate. Because we need to get through the summary. Phil, are there these wasps that have paralysis stings in Mass Effect?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
It's a very important question after watching.
So
the whole enemy thing is just a thing for Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
Like they're the main antagonistic force in 2.
Yeah, the collectors, correct?
Yeah.
Is that with a K or without a K?
That is not
just with
without
a
a
C.
K. They would get sued.
Yup.
I'm curious. I guess that this colony built on a foreign planet has no airtight seals on anything, so bees can just get in.
Apparently.
Okay.
Maybe this is like one of those Star Trek episodes where everyone's a fucking hippie, so they don't even have doors on most buildings.
Oh, they did. They were just all open. Fucking like There's a beautiful scene where like all those colonists like run down to the secure military door. It's like the only one on the fucking complex, and they're like, "Let us in, let us in." Like, no, you don't have clearance. Like, okay, I'm gonna blow the door down with this giant fucking rocket launcher. Like, wait a minute. How fucking equipped are you assholes?
Right?
Well, you can't shoot the bees. They're very clear that guns are useless on the bees, which to be fair is also in the game.
Yeah, but then they keep showing scenes of people shooting the bees with guns.
and some of the bees die.
Yeah, it usually works.
It's really weird because they do both of these at the same time. They shoot the bees, they start dying, and then they yell, "The gun doesn't work." And I'm like, I mean, maybe your expectations were unreasonable. You seem to be killing some bees. Is it killing all of them? No, you're shooting bullets at tiny
You're shooting a
insects. Yeah, to speed through the rest of this, though, the collectors show up. They sting everybody. They collect them onto their vessel. Our main crew tries to do some really smart things to help. They shoot a turret that is half charged, the mega gun shown earlier, at the ship, and it deflects the laser into the ground. Dirtbag McGee, voiced by Vic, later goes, "Yeah, they fired it at 50% charge. Why did they do that?" There are some fight scenes here. I don't know that any of it matters.
There's the weird part where Camille, she's the one lady, she gets captured and then immediately transformed into some unstoppable monster we never see again.
It's true. And when we say transformed, it's like she's in the chest cavity of a giant monster, so you can see her face next to other weird shapes and things.
Yeah, and then she has evaporation rays and nothing else seems to.
Oh, yeah, there was a dude who was like, "Oh, it's her.
Man.
She's fine. I'm going to run towards her." And then he just gets screen wiped to death.
I remember thinking, wow, that guy had that coming. I forgot she showed up in the middle of that. I was like, wow, that is horrifying and way more high concept than the rest of this.
Yeah, it's like
I don't even remember this from the game. I know it's there because I just looked it up, but I don't even remember it.
And the only other noteworthy thing of this middle part is that the main bad guy, who we did not reference before, from the earliest part of this, the very beginning skirmish, has been imprisoned on this facility for 2 years.
Right?
We didn't.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like
Nobody knew.
I don't know.
He's a test subject, a member of this extremely common race because they live 1,000 years. Well, not extremely common anymore, but they're not rare. Why do you have him in this glass tube?
See, it's weird that they have him in the glass tube because they said he was a prisoner of war. They didn't ship him anywhere or do anything with him. They literally just sealed him in a basement in the research and development wing. Really fucking weird shit.
Like, they said they planned to put him off like a few months ago, but that would have mean they planned for him to be on the thing for like a year.
Right?
I don't know. It's this fucking movie. It's just...
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess, and it's terrible. None of it looks good. None of it's compelling. There's not one compelling iota of this film.
Nope.
So they get onto the collector vessel. They're going to save everyone. Can I skip all the way to the terminal?
Sure.
Yeah, because I barely understand what was happening for most of that.
So the Prothean Terminal is apparently around, and Vic drags Blue Lady to it.
Okay, one thing before that, I think.
Okay.
They make a specific plan to attack their giant ray gun. They're going to shove their own ship into that to get into the enemy ship.
Mm-hmm.
Then they don't show that, and they just sort of shoot the random side of the enemy ship, and then they get inside, and it seems fine.
It was a jarring action sequence. Most things in this are jarring. They can have a person on screen talking, and it can look jarring.
Yes.
But yeah, so they successfully but ambiguously get into this vehicle, this ship, and they make their way all the way to a terminal, or not all of them, just the bad guy and the blue scientist lady, Tira, is that right?
Yes.
Make their way to the
Tria.
Prothean... Sorry, one more time?
Tria.
Thank you. Make their way to the Prothean Terminal. She has the ability to interface with it mentally, unlike the two people that Bad Guyman forced to do it before her, who suffered psychic damage and fell over. She then interfaces with it to learn about the collectors, and he holds her arm for a second time. He forces her to interface with it again, and his wristband, through him holding her arm, is able to record all the data.
It's my understanding that there's a lot of Mass Effect technology that's psychic, so I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
Sword. I'm not. Who cares? I'm not even gonna argue it.
Right, like somebody said biotics, and I'm like, sure, it's science magic. Let's do it.
It was also really weird that Mesner, the villain man, he somehow makes dealings with these
he brokered
collectors?
a deal between
Somehow.
the
That's a thing from 2. They do establish in 2 that sometimes they make deals with people.
Okay.
so
That's in the games. I was gonna say, like, that was a lot more complex and nuanced and potentially fascinating than the rest of the writing in this movie.
Yes.
Which explains why they just don't expand on it or focus on it at all.
Yes.
Yeah, because they make
Yeah.
the deal and then he immediately is betrayed. It's like, wait.
Which, that scene where he gets betrayed was the first time that I knew that those things were like 9 feet tall.
yeah.
I think
I
only
was
those.
like, wait, were they always that big?
I think only those ones were. Am I wrong? I feel like
I
the
think-
ground group were not that big.
I think you might be right. The ground troops did
Oh, no,
not
'cause
look
they
that
had-
big.
Like, they had to pick up Camille, so they had to be giant.
Most of the collectors are pretty big. I don't know about 9 feet tall, but they're mostly pretty.
What was the name of the ground group again that brokered this deal? It was Cerberus or something?
Yeah.
Cerberus.
Okay.
Like, we're not racist. Okay.
We're just really pro-human and not much else.
It's like talking to a fucking 40K fan. Like, no, the Empire's not racist.
You know who runs Cerberus in the games? You know who their boss is?
Please tell me.
Martin Sheen.
Okay, wait. Like,
Actually, Martin Sheen. Mocap
literally
voice.
Martin Sheen?
Literally Martin Sheen.
Oh my god.
But you mean a character that he's playing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
But he doesn't have a
Jesus.
name. So it's just Martin Sheen.
Okay. I like this lore.
That took me to some places.
Took you
But,
to a pre-order page.
Before we get past this scene, I'd like to point out that when they revealed that the collectors were the precursors, and I'd like to pause in the middle of this pausing to put forth that, hi, Dr. Aggro here, talking to all you prospective lore wizards and fantasy and sci-fi world builders. Take a look at your cadre of races and alliances and groups of disparate persons. If more than one of them starts with the word the, rename some of them. Seriously.
Never play Anthem.
Fuck you.
Or look into any
Oh
of
my
Anthem's
God. No,
lore.
I played Anthem. And I played Destiny. And like, Jesus Christ. The this. The those. Fuck you. Name shit.
The Taken. The Hive.
The Bouncer.
Shut up!
What are the precursors called in Halo? The Forerunners, right?
Forerunners.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
no,
Forerunners.
fuck that shit. The Forerunners, the
The
precursors,
It's-
the ancients, the old ones, the actually write some shit, you lazy, hacky dipshits.
The crafters.
Oh,
The creators.
Oh my God, Rome fell. Get over it.
I think of a few Twitter accounts that need to be told that.
I prefer Freakers.
Aggro, were you on the way to a point in the middle of this pod?
Yeah, when they revealed that the collectors were just the Reapers turning the precursors into the collectors, I just started crying.
yeah.
Because it was too much. It was too big of a stupid idea to be contained in 90 minutes of terrible animation.
I think terrible oversells.
This is like a twist in 2 also.
And you know, in the middle of a giant sprawling space RPG, sure.
Yes.
At the start of Act 3 of this, no, sweetie, no.
Yeah, I don't get why they include this reveal in this movie, because ostensibly you played Mass Effect 2, so you know this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we didn't play any of them, so I guess this was for us. So we get the spoiled on it.
Yeah, now I know.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go play 3 now, I think.
I will forget
Yeah, sure.
this in 10 minutes.
So we go from this terminal scene. Apparently, the collectors are no longer making that deal with Cerberus because they betrayed Vic Badman.
Well, he let the blue lady on the ship.
That's true. He let the blue lady on the ship. So what's up?
So this part happens where they put up a pod to put him in to be like, fuck you, because we're cutting this deal. This sequence made me die because of how badly animated this section is, where he's like, I'll deal with her. And then I guess their intent was to animate him pushing her into that.
Yes.
It just looked like she ran at it, spun, backed into it, looked at it, got inside, and went, why am I in here? And I just started laughing like, what is going on?
I found it amazing that made them not want to kill Vic anymore.
Yeah, that was the insane part. The part
We
where
only
it
have
worked.
one pod left.
Yeah.
Well, they were just mad about the blue lady.
And now she's solved, and he can solve problems better than the collectors, apparently.
I guess.
God, this is so bad.
We got to get through this one sequence really fast, though, because she rips
That's all I cared about.
the data bracelet off of his arm, gets in the pod, he figures out, starts freaking out, a hole opens in the side of the ship and starts sucking her out into the void of space. Okay. Now we've reached the Paragon Lost part of the movie called Paragon Lost.
Yep.
Bob, you pointed out something. I also didn't notice it. I think you should bring it up now, plot-wise. Something both you and me went, wait, when did that?
Did they introduce a reason the enemy craft is crashing?
Yes, I think they blew up the drive core.
They
They
said
killed the pilot.
They said they
They
were
killed the pilot.
No, the enemy ship. They didn't. There's no pilot to kill in the giant mothership thing, is there?
Yeah, I think that was the big guy that Vega killed.
What?
That's what I...
Is that
Okay.
how that works?
Okay.
Is this something from the games?
Kinda.
We have one pilot for this giant colony ship?
In the
Well,
gonna
they're
be honest.
like hive mind things.
in the
This is when I started looking at my phone.
Me too. I saw him kill that person, and then Bob's like, wait, why are they hurtling towards the Earth? And I'm like, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea.
I did not gather that at
the
all.
thing they killed. The thing they killed was the leader, which is why the sexual predator does the heroic sacrifice and uses his mind powers to throw them both into the void.
Oh, I didn't know he was special at
Yeah.
all. Like he didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't come off that way, but I guess. Okay.
This was so bad that I didn't understand it. I assumed I was tuning it out, and I'm like, no, we're keeping it rolling. I'm not rolling back again.
Okay. And then
There's no hope here.
we get to the focal point of the movie. Our main character, Swivel Grow Bulb. God, that's a terrible one.
Thank you for providing all these names.
Dirk Doomfists has to make a decision.
I don't know. I like Stump Chuckman.
Jet and blood.
Has to make a
Roman
Buck
shrug
Thunder
blank.
Thrash.
Bjorn Braun Cat.
He has to make
Rock toss chunk.
a decision
And
between.
Maverick is in this image.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he is. Because this was around the time Star Ocean
Bottom
4 would
right,
come
like
out.
where?
Oh, that's really good.
Turds mixed
Bob
blast.
Johnson.
Oh,
So he has a decision to make.
Yeah.
He only has the time to save one pod floating in space with the blue lady with the data bracelet that would let everyone know about the collectors and give them very important information to fight this threat. Or literally everyone on this colony that is in the middle of the ship as it explodes and falls towards the Earth.
that he would somehow
Which-
gather onto his ship very
Onto
quickly.
his tiny ship.
Yeah, there's two things about that. One, that colony ship includes the blonde lady and her adorable daughter.
The morality pet.
He had, yes,
Yes.
exactly that. The cat he saved at the start of the story. Also, yeah, to Bob's point, the fuck was he gonna do?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
If he only has the time to go outside and get her
A single pod.
or somehow
This
the
was
time
literally
to gather a whole colony's worth of people.
Because they're not somewhere accessible. They're deep in the processing facility.
This is literally when I rewound the movie. Like, wait, what choice did he make?
I think the assertion is that he could have brought the ship back under control.
No,
Yeah,
What?
that was my read of it, because otherwise it seems impossible.
Yeah, otherwise it's pointless. And this is supposed to parallel a thing in the Mass Effect 2 DLC where it's an actual real, well, it's not a real choice, but it is a real choice. Or where Shepard makes a hard choice. And so one can't be impossible. In the writer's mind, he had to be able to save those people somehow.
Yeah, and
Yes.
but he didn't show us.
But he didn't show
so-
us that, right? See, here's the thing. As a viewer, your mind is doing the work here to bridge causal reality
Yeah.
to the event
I mean,
you're being subjected
So
to.
many things in this movie are just bizarre. Like, they get on the enemy craft, their own ship is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And they find another perfectly functional human ship inside.
Dude, they have a part where they're like, we have no guns. How are we going to do this? Well, I've got a knife and some grenades. You cut to the colonists, and they have guns they're fighting with.
Yeah. They
Like
have some.
you were in pods 10 seconds ago. Where did you find that thing?
I mean, if we're talking about materiel people shouldn't have, like, the Krogan was like, oh, I've got a ship that should still be there. I'm like, you guys have been here for 2 years.
Right?
You special forces assholes have been here for 2 years specifically to guard against Krogan invasion. You are shitty at your job.
But he had
Yes.
somehow, I guess, before any of this, I think that he got to the colony before the colonists did, buried this ship underground. They built the colony on top of it. That's the only way this makes sense.
He parked that ship. He walked
parked it
2
behind a
miles
corner.
away from the city and then hopped in the pickup truck they used to assault the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. He threw a tarp over his vehicle. And it sat there
This
for
is a
2
nightmare.
years.
There's no joy
None.
anywhere except for this image that says his name is Meat Manningham.
Oh, that's a good
And that's not
one.
even related to this
And
movie
Punch
specifically.
Bowflex.
Oh, you mean that image that says his name is Cord Swoleneck?
Lat's glute flicks.
Ronnie Prime Optimus Chest.
Crunch huge cock.
Jab
Buck Thunder
Brawlstone.
Thrash.
Ned McFlanders.
Brock Miller.
So he has to make that decision, that important decision. Does he save a blue lady with all of this information to help against the collectors, or does he save somehow the entire colony all at once? And so,
It's like, but that 9-year-old I've been grooming won't be ready for years.
I choose Blue Coochie.
so he screams, he throws his hands onto the steering column, and then we cut to the beginning of Mass Effect 3, I think.
That was like
No.
him grabbing the steering wheel made that sequence because he didn't like solemnly give the order. He didn't like make a grave decision. He freaked out and went,
Yes.
blue pussy.
Yes, that is,
Lunged at that steering wheel.
that is absolutely what happened.
Like, I'm not going to let her die. She started liking me for no reason 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
It's so
The
true.
thought of that frantic movement could save her and also could have saved the colonists.
Yes.
It's like, wow.
He had 2 tunnels to fly out of the room he was in, and one literally is coded red, and it just says "Save Blue Girl." The other one's coded blue, and it says "Save the Colonists."
Good old Dick Sandals.
But the scene they're having at the end here, where he's in front of like a counselor or something, I think Mass Effect 2 or 3 opened with a similar scene before some sort of attack. Is that right, Phil?
Yes. Mass Effect 3 opens with Shepard on trial for war crimes.
Yes. So he's in front of the council. They go, "Good job. You did a great job. You did such a good job. That must have been hard. By the way, you saved the blue lady." And they showed this in a quick cut. And the rest of the movie's a fucking mess, even by the parts before it. When it comes to composition and how scenes run together.
It's such a mess that I was like, wait, are they turning back time to show us the Paragon ending now?
I know. And if I described it to you, audience, I would sound like Joe Biden.
It's literally we have to make you feel worse about the decision he made by showing that little girl ask why he isn't saving her.
Yep, and then watching her get crushed by rubble. It's really great.
It makes you feel bad for the choice that Bjorn Brauncalf chose.
So then he runs and he's screaming and he's crying and having all these emotions, and it's pouring rain and he's pounding the earth and he's screaming and he's upset, and then he stands up as soon as he sees the monument to all the people they lost on this planet, and then they all salute it. And then the blue lady's like, hey, I know that was rough. And he's like, it's okay. I made the best choice. You. Basically is what he said.
Surprising no one, she never appears in any game.
Well, yeah, she's too busy fucking that guy for every colonist that died.
The data that he rescued has no relevance to anything ever.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
It's never brought up once. Shepard comes back to life and basically like stares at the collector base and it explodes like the Death Star.
I just like the movie ends and the fact that the credits are rolling and Limp Bizkit's I Did It All for the Nookie isn't playing felt deeply wrong to me.
This would have gotten a point for that.
Like even one.
Yeah, it'd be the only fucking point.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dire here in Mass Effect Paragon Lost.
Would you recommend this movie?
No, I would never recommend this, and I'm fucking floored that it was recommended to us as content we should cover.
Yeah, I hit halfway in. I genuinely got angry at Phil.
Please look forward to the grays blurring even further, and somehow Assassin's Creed live action movie shows up on WeeaBoots.
I wanted this to be a
better.
cursed content.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't. Like, this is the crossover event of the century.
What?
You should just change the intro of this episode to Magus' Castle.
Welcome to Cursed
Honestly,
Content
this-
Without Commentary Track. I'm your host, Dan Video.
This
All right, Bob, A, B, C, or D.
Just put up 90 minutes of stunned silence.
yeah.
Occasionally hit that button that makes Phil say, fuck you.
I
Like he grabs the steering wheel for Blue Pussy and Phil goes, wow.
No, it'd be like I think the only sound I made the entire time was
Yeah, that's fair.
this is so unbelievably nothing.
I can deal with its plot being unbelievably nothing if it at least looks good or has a few interesting ideas, but none of its ideas are interesting even by itself, let alone without what Mass Effect handed it, right?
Yeah, I thought that we did something like just a totally separate story that didn't try and connect itself to the main plot, and then we could get something cool with character studies or anything. Instead, it's like apparently tied super neatly. It's close to what
But it
they
has
do
no
in
effect.
two and does nothing.
Yes, I thought when they stuck the security, they stuck the special ops on security detail, the majority of this was going to be social dynamics and going into character development.
Yeah.
But no, they wanted to have the world's worst looking action sequences.
For an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so floored when it became that. I was like, God, why? So I think it's pretty clear no one would recommend watching this.
No.
No.
There is no level of BioWare stan that I could ever see liking this.
Yeah. Like I know.
Well, you say that. However, I scrolled on IMDb and there's one review. 10 stars, love Mass Effect and loved this movie. And they
That's
wrote
the
an
writer.
incredibly long statement about it. Freedom Fighter
big-
08 on IMDb.
Big world out there with a lot of stuff in it.
A lot of
A
people
lot of people.
will just clap for the thing they like no matter what it is. Like, as long as it has the branding, they'll love it.
I knew this was dire because the wiki straight up has like no information besides like the summary and the cast. It's like no reception, no how this links into the game, nothing.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure this came in a Burger King kids meal.
Mass Effect Paragon Lost is a great movie.
On Xbox Live and PlayStation Network.
Now, Aggro, we gotta talk. I watched plenty of McDonald's VHSs as a kid that were animated so much better than this.
Yeah. I'm hard pressed. Like, this entire thing looks like background characters in a filler episode of another anime, but that's the entire thing, and this was a movie.
Oh, did anyone else think it was really funny when they find paralyzed people and didn't do the courtesy of closing their eyes?
All the colonists wake up and have insanely rough eyes that are blood red.
Yeah, I'm like, how are they guys seeing, much less shooting guns?
See, Bob's thinking that. I'm like,
Bob's asking the real question.
Bob's seeing that, thinking about that. I'm sitting here and I'm like, won't they just starve to death? What? How long are they going to leave them paralyzed like this?
Well, it doesn't take that long to juice them, like what happens to them in the ship.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the fact that they were like, we have this tiny vial of the antidote. We can spread it out over the entire facility to heal everyone who's in a pod.
The pod's apparently completely open to air.
Also, it has a 69% success rate, but somehow it fucking works on everyone.
Very fast, even. Except for the first guy.
What a very smart movie.
Kill me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cursed Content Club. If you would like to get a commentary track, it doesn't exist because we did this at the wrong show.
I am getting tired of your disingenuous assertions.
Just
See, here, let me explain what happened. I had to recommend something for content.
Mm-hmm.
The red star popped up in the bottom right corner of the screen, and I hit right trigger, and that's how we got here.
I hate you.
Daniel will remember this.
Everyone dislikes that.
Nobody will remember this.
The theme song for WeeaBoots is Android by Lukhash. You can find a link to go buy it on iTunes or Bandcamp in the description below. If you'd like to support podcasts like these, then consider becoming a podlord over on patreon.com/gbpodcast.